was growing up, I went to the forest quite often with my parents and to the parks nearby. And one thing that my mother would always do is to cut wildflowers. So we always had big bouquets of flowers everywhere in the house. Later on in life, I went to Japan, where I lived for 15 years. And there, immediately, of course, I fell in love with ikebana, which was the Japanese flower arrangements. And I realized very quickly that it stemmed from nature, and they represent nature as a whole in one arrangement. To do a Japanese flower arrangement, you really look at the way the plant or the flower grows. And you have to recreate nature in your vase. In a way, you give it a second life, maybe a little cleaner life, but it's a second life. It's not just cutting and putting together. And that's one of the reasons probably why most arrangements are very asymmetrical. So that's how plants and trees really have come into my life. And then later on, when I moved to the States, I always wanted to transmit the Japanese love of nature, the way they really live with it. Their architecture shows that, you know, they live with nature. The little courtyards that we have tried to express at the Yume Gardens is really an integral part of their lives. So ikebana is one of them. Japanese gardens is another. Courtyard gardens or the big strolling gardens that you see in Japan. When I look at the plant, I look at its shape, the way it grows, but at each leaf also. And the leaves they have a different texture, they have a different color, they have a different shade. And so when we choose plants, either for a Japanese flower arrangement, we look at all that in detail. And especially when you do a Japanese flower arrangement, it becomes almost meditative. You get totally into it. And it brings you at the end, even if you come and start your class or your arrangement a little bit stressed, when you do an arrangement, even though we do follow rules, after a while it becomes, again, it takes you to another world. It's like meditation, really. So maybe that's what I found the most inspiring about plants and flowers, is that you get into their world and you admire, you appreciate each texture and each form, shapes, variation of colors. If it's a bud versus a fully open flower, all those details, you just keep focusing on those things. And I feel that's where you find the inspiration.